ようこそどうぞはじめまして
Hello everyone, welcome to the GLORIO Chat, the best anime podcast on the internet. Feels like strange times to be talking about cartoons at the moment, but I hope everybody is out there staying safe.
This
Wash
is
your
an
hands.
important historical record of the times.
Yes.
Indeed.
Wash your hands, stay inside if you can, and
practice social distancing.
Remember that soap is more effective than hand sanitizer.
Yes, and since you have nothing better to do, come hang out with us and talk about anime.
Yeah, talk about all the anime that will definitely
delayed.
air. And not get indefinitely delayed or cancelled.
Yeah, there was one or two shows that one even got bumped to like next season or something like that.
Isn't Railgun like on indefinite hiatus?
No, they finally came back, but they've
okay.
been gone for a couple weeks, yeah. So I'm assuming JC staff probably outsources a lot to China and stuff. So
I mean, we are living in the midst of a global pandemic, and it reminds you that how interconnected the world is, for better or worse, right?
Yeah.
Like this
For a second, I thought you were going to somehow tie this into Legend of the Galactic Heroes. But...
Oh no, I'm waiting until Jell introduces us.
yes, okay. Well, So on the podcast today, I'm Jell. We also have Iro.
Still here, not dead yet. From
COVID-19
COVID-19 or otherwise.
That's a not as an easy question as it usually is.
Hero's
from week to week
catchphrase
here.
takes on a new meaning in these days.
Oh God! Oh, we laugh to keep from crying. And we have G.
Without a comparable Legend of Galactic Heroes episode to compare these current times to, I don't know how to respond to all of this.
How did they not have a pandemic episode?
I think it's just
because they have the beds that restore your HP and MP. So,
right, like I think it's just that
but you're still hungry.
It never occurred to Yoshiki Tanaka that, I don't know, gosh, maybe pandemics would come back in the 21st century.
I mean, it's been about 100+ years since something like this happened, right? So, anyway. And we have Aqua with us this week. Oh, that's it.
No,
cut his
put on
mic.
your masks.
Kick him out of GLORIO headquarters. Because we all live in GLORIO headquarters in the same location, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we all
Like the
share an
Port
awesome
Island.
room with a ball pit.
But I'm tired today. I can't go to Tartarus.
Anyway, so for today's episode, it is time for the new season, which is going to be the this is spring, I guess, spring 2020.
2020.
I had to think about that for a second. I didn't count what season this is for GLORIO. I think it's like 28 or something. But
That's a number I'm better off not knowing.
Seasons don't even exist anymore.
I'll figure that out. I'll figure that out before the first looks start. But so we're gonna do our preview show. New shows are gonna be starting in about 2 weeks, so we're gonna touch on some of the notable things we think are worth talking about, for better or worse, and let's dive into it. So we're gonna start with some of the returning shows that we wanted to mention. The first one being the second season of Kaguya-sama Love is War.
Yeah.
Which was probably one of the better, if not best, romantic comedies of the past year or two. Very much in my wheelhouse.
It seems broadly well received by folks.
Yep. So, Joe, what would be your opinion on the show moving from random gags to having a plot and character development? What is your take on that?
Are you warning? So for
it's
for
not
everybody's,
it's not a warning.
For everybody's information, Aqua, you have read the manga, right?
Yes.
So you know what's coming up to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
does it stop being?
No, it remains a comedy. It remains a comedy, true and
Okay.
true. But
I
they
think-
focus more on longer plot arcs and character development.
I feel like they were moving in that direction toward the end of season 1 anyway.
yeah.
Because
Definitely.
what was it ended with it was like they started
The
digging more
fireworks.
into
Yeah.
the Kaguya's family and her restrictions on her life and all that, right?
How long
So,
until she has to go back to the moon?
yeah, but no, I'm looking forward to more. I think, and I'm there's going to be some more characters getting introduced too,
Yeah,
right? Like
they're
the cast is
they're
getting
gonna add
expanding.
a 5th member to the main squad.
Yeah, so I've always felt the strength of the show was the supporting cast. So if we get more characters in there, I'm cool with that. So
She's very good.
okay.
That's
I mean,
good
is
to
she Chika Fujiwara good, or
So
is that too high a bar?
That's a high bar. Let's be real here.
She's more like she's there as a foil to Ishigami, but her introduction also
sure.
gives a lot of like fun character development to Ishigami.
Okay.
Yeah, that guy did not really get much in season 1.
He's just kind of there, but like with the introduction of Ino, as she's called, he becomes a main character.
I seem to remember a lot of conversations between like people only watched the anime and then people who read the manga.
and me.
Right, and like the manga readers were always like, "Oh yeah, that guy is great," and the anime watchers would be like, "You mean that guy
Yeah.
who does nothing, who's not important?"
yeah.
And he's kind of a perv in the anime.
Now y'all understand why I get so excited about the appearance of certain characters in Beastars. Like, y'all don't. You don't.
No,
Y'all don't. Even,
I'm right there with you now.
y'all don't even
yeah.
begin to understand.
Ishigami had some good jokes. Like my favorite one was when Kaguya was tutoring him, and he's like, "Please don't do anything. Please do anything to me, but make me eat fish or like sardines or something." And she's like, "Study this book and eat this plate of 100 sardines or something like that." I forget the exact joke, but it was a good joke.
I mean,
but-
I think the thing
Is it one of those you had to be there jokes?
yeah, it's hard to.
That's anime
yeah.
comedy in a nutshell, though. Let's be honest, right? Like it's kind of hard to describe.
The presentation has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good it's a good like I like when romantic comedies are generally comedy first, which I feel like is still the case here, even as they do kind of move more in the plot direction.
I think like we as a society in the whole are just sort of getting to the point where we accept that romance on its own is kind of boring.
Yeah, I mean that's the
Like-
thing, right? Like, sorry, go ahead, Aqua.
Oh, I'll have some things to
that's-
say about that.
that's
later in
what
the
I
show
wanted
later,
to
but,
say.
Oh, okay. Because I was about to say, like, when you start to describe Kaguya as like, oh, it's starting to get an overarching plot, I'm like, pass, because I liked
Yeah.
Kaguya, like, but I liked it as a comedy, I don't
Yeah,
need
yeah.
more. I don't need no Toradora shit in my life anymore, like.
But that's the thing, like it never gets hit by the like drama bomb that so many of ththese shows get, and it's just
Right.
more like not really a focus on the romance. I mean, they do get into that, but it's more like a about completely unrelated stuff, about the characters, about them trying to get better at stuff, and just like a lot of stuff with Ishigami is about him like trying to get along better with the people in his class, like trying not to be such a creepy freak and stuff like that. And then in the meantime, they sort of like interchange it with these random vignettes of fun comedy bits that you remember from the first season. I think it's actually, that show has done or at least that manga has done a surprisingly good job at becoming like something genuine and long lasting. Especially given its premise, which is basically like, how long can we possibly keep this fun?
how much
Right.
can we drag this out, right? Yeah. So
So yeah, kudos for them to that.
looking forward to that one.
Hopefully, still is good.
Yep.
I hope it does well.
Hopefully, it doesn't have a theme song sung by a racist this time.
Yes.
That's the whole other. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that was so disappointing too, because that was a great.
Or are they gonna do a second dance sequence for a new dance?
We can only hope.
Yeah, we'll see. But they only use that for one episode too. That's the funny part.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right.
It's been so
swear they
prominent
played it at
that
least
people
twice.
forgot it was only in one episode. It's like the Kaworu of Kaguya-sama.
Yeah. No. Yeah. They only used that whole thing for one episode. So. Yeah.
A lot better animated though. So.
Ouch.
All
we want
right.
to talk about good theme songs though.
Yeah,
we
let's
should talk
let's
about the next anime on this list.
Yeah, so the next show on our returning shows list is No Guns Life.
Hell yeah.
Sure.
Which I'll defer to you. I never ended up watching the first the first episode.
I felt like
so.
the show was totally adequate at the time. I didn't think it was particularly amazing, and it wasn't bad.
Hey,
So-
it's a
So
perfectly...
can you guys give me like a 1-sentence summary on this one, just to
There
refresh
is
people's
in
memories?
a gritty cyberpunk world. There's a private eye with a gun for a head.
And he fights crime.
Yep.
Then why is the show called No Guns Live? I'm being lied to because there definitely are guns.
Good question. I can't answer this.
The point is that No Guns Life is a perfectly adequate, like, tri-gun adjacent,
Popcorn.
yeah, like
Show.
episodic, seinen action series. And yeah, season 2's coming, and it's kind of neat because we're starting to hit material that I am no longer familiar with because the scanlations for the manga basically died like 8 years ago.
GLORIO blog does not endorse piracy.
Well, yeah.
So, the second core will be material that I'm not familiar with, which is exciting because it will be the only way I can experience it.
I feel like
maybe-
the thing that was kind of interesting about this show is that all of the backgrounds and props are CG, and then all the characters are 2D.
Right, it's like the exact opposite of
It's
the
like
usual.
reverse Dorohedoro. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's really interesting. But yeah, it's we kind of know what to expect from it. I don't think there's that much to say.
Right.
It's going to be
Is
your
this the same
action
studio?
noir.
Is this also Mappa?
Was it Mappa?
Is it Mappa?
God.
It sounds like the kind of thing
No,
they
I
would
don't.
do.
I don't think it was. I think it was Was it Madhouse on this?
I think
one?
it was
Madhouse, yeah.
Madhouse,
Oh,
yes.
all right.
Easy
yeah.
to get those. 2D
Otherwise,
stuff.
I could do a joke about how they're like trying out 2 different takes
They-
on cutting the budget.
maybe.
I mean, Mappa is basically like Madhouse Gaiden.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the difference there is that, like, with Dorohedoro, you could tell that, like, Mappa is, despite whatever budget constraints they're up against, they are throwing their all into that show. Whereas the No Guns Life anime is, it's a little bit more workmanlike, for better or worse.
Mm-hmm.
It's solid, but I wouldn't say it, like, goes above and beyond most of the time. The
Right.
main reason I brought up the segue is because of the news we discovered yesterday that the second OP of No Guns Life will be a collaboration between Hiroyuki Sawano and Man with a Mission.
Oh dear.
That is a hell of a
Just go.
combination.
Full power.
it's-
How insane will this be?
I'm so ready. But the thing that scares me is, it will probably never live up to my
Right.
expectations.
Yes.
Like, I'm expecting something just cacophonous, but, it will probably just be a conventional, anime
Right.
OP track. But
You know what it is with supergroups? It's never better than the sum of its parts.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean,
Still,
that Blood Bucket Belfry ending was good.
yeah. I mean, still, it's just that, it's interesting because Sawano usually collaborates with, like, breathy female vocalists, so I'm very curious what a collaboration with, the guys who done the Log Horizon OP is gonna sound like.
Heading back to the database.
I mean, that's later this year. That's,
Oh baby,
that's
we're
not,
headed
that's
back
not
to
spring.
the database.
Do you think they'll make a new OP when Log Horizon comes back?
Oh no,
It would
they
be a
couldn't.
that would be a foolish decision.
They would be crucified by public opinion. Like,
That's
I
the difference
watched
season.
Log Horizon solely because of the OP.
Did the licensing rights run out because it's been so long? I don't know. But,
I hope not.
all right. So yep, that show's coming back.
Yup. Guess what else is coming back?
So another one that's returning, and you guys never really got a chance to
Right.
say your piece on
Oh,
this.
We
but
spoke about this off tape.
Yes.
yeah, so Gundam build the latest Gundam build divers, which is Re-Rise, I believe, right?
Correct.
You guys said some interesting things happened at the end of that, because otherwise it was
Yes.
going like pretty conventional.
It was
Kid
really
show, whatever.
bog standard, dull,
Yeah.
and predictable until the last 2 episodes.
where suddenly it got more real than some of the fucking mainline entries in the whole franchise.
1 second, before we do this, the last season was Gundam Build Divers, right?
Okay,
Yes.
There was Gundam Build Divers, and late last year was Gundam Build Divers Re-Rise, and this is going to be like part 2 of Build Divers Re-Rise.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
So it's like season 2.5.
It's season 2 of season 2.
Yeah, I mean,
my
yes,
God.
what Eero said, like,
Yeah,
if you
okay.
follow the series, it's not actually that confusing because they make it pretty. They are.
They're
like,
not
clearly-
changing the cast.
Yeah,
They're not changing
right.
the cast.
This is
No,
still
It's
Re-Rise.
just more Gundam Build Divers.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And,
Go on.
Right.
Okay, so the first 10 episodes of Gundam Build Divers are
Really insipid.
yeah, really bland, insipid children's TV bullshit, right? Y'all have heard me talk time and time again about how fucking good the first season of Gundam Build Fighters is, so I'm not gonna, repeat that here. Point is, Re-Rise, not living up to expectations. Are already extremely low expectations.
Building up to this incredibly obvious twist that, oh no, the people are inside the computer are real.
Right, because so they go to so Gundam Build Divers takes place in a VR and a VR MMO. Stop me if you've heard this before. And the main cast get teleported to a new hidden server filled with a village of animal people.
The secret quest.
Revolutionary. Tell me more.
Yeah. It's kind of at first the players kind of treat it as a hidden secret quest or something. Wow,
new patch, man. We're the first ones to find the hidden quest.
Some forever game Destiny bullshit, right? Of first to beat the raid.
I got Black Spindle.
Right. One of the characters is literally man, when am I getting the fucking good rewards from this mission and shit, right? And so they finally make it to what seems to be the final mission of this quest line, right? And they got to stop a big orbital laser from shooting the friendly animal people on Earth or on the planet, right? And long story short, they fail. They outright fail to stop the villain and his giant laser. The laser fires successfully and obliterates the animal people. Their town is wiped from the surface. Some real
It's a crater.
It's a crater. Yes. And then we find out that not only were these animal people real people with real feelings, but turns out this was an Ender's Game situation where somehow the signals from the VR MMO got mixed up with quantum teleportation signals of an alien planet in a different galaxy, and that
Right. The point is, these animal people were not server data that could be they're explicitly not able to be rebooted or whatever. They were.
This is real mass genocide.
Living creature.
Right, they're real living creatures on a real planet in a different part of outer space that the player characters get teleported to through their VR MMO. And
They're all dead.
They're all dead.
Fun kid stuff.
Yeah, the last episode is literally just the main characters struggling to deal with the reality of their
We failed to stop mass genocide.
Yeah, yes.
Explicitly, it's our fault.
Yes, their actions explicitly led to the deaths of thousands. And
So, real quick question: what's more wild, this ending or the ending of Iron Blooded Orphans?
I mean,
Just apples and oranges.
yes,
Okay.
because Iron Blooded Orphans ending is the ending that we all thought that show should have had from the very beginning. It's just we didn't have any faith that they had the chops to pull it off.
Right.
The
This
thing
is
with-
coming out of nowhere.
This is the most out of left field. Of course, the whole show they've been hinting at the whole, oh, maybe the MMO NPCs have feelings, right? Because
Maybe they're real people these, our AI buddies from
right.
past
Because
season.
in season 1 of Build Divers, they got into the whole concept of AI and AI personhood, and by the time of Re-Rise, AI
They're a few dozen AI people.
yeah, they're the ISOs from Tron. They have full personhood. And so we all thought, oh, it's going to go in this direction again. These animal people are going to be real people with real feelings. But, they're still like,
Data.
but,
They're like Digimon. They'll live even if you kill them.
Yeah. So the real that, like, they decided to just escalate it to the next level of, like, no, these aren't just, like, AI. This is some near shit. No, these are, like, real flesh and blood creatures.
What are the implications then for the next season? What do you think's gonna?
My understanding is they're gonna go back and try and fix things.
Yeah, I mean, like, classic team gets back together.
Right. So, the actual addendum here is I do not expect a lot from season 2 either.
Right. So that's
just
the thing.
like we got tricked into being curious about season 2 by the last 2 episodes.
Right, like the last 2 episodes of the first season are not at all any indication to me that season 2 is going to be good. They're just... It was the bait that convinced us to keep watching this, basically. But I'm going into season 2 fully expecting, with episode 1, it's going to go right back to just regular, predictable, like, Monster of the Week shit.
Yup. I see no reason to think otherwise. But hey, those 2 episodes were pretty good.
Yeah.
I was genuinely caught off guard.
Yeah, that was...
So really nothing has changed, and the show's still going to be bad, and you guys are still going to watch it anyway.
Yup.
All right, well...
Speaking of
have fun with that.
Isn't that what
speaking
we're
of bad
for?
shows, are going to be bad, but you're going to watch it anyways.
All right, so what's the deal with there's more Digimon happening?
There's more Digimon because Digimon has always failed to reach the same highs as the original version, so let's just reboot it.
This is literally the worst idea since the lockdown party.
So this isn't so this is not related to Try. They're
no.
trying to do
so there was a movie that
thing.
came out recently in Japan that was like Last Evolution Kizuna or something. That is a sequel to Try. That's supposed to be the final send off for your friends from Digimon Adventure. Also, we're literally rebooting Digimon Adventure right after it.
So that they're starting from the beginning again with the same characters. And
Yeah,
everything?
but it's like it's set in modern day and the premise is completely different.
Wait.
It's more similar to like modern Digimon things where it's like based on social media and they go into the digital world to like stop internet problems, and it's not like a weird isekai thing like the original show was.
So you're telling me that it is a remake in the sense that hey, it's what the fuck those guys names? It's Ty and Matt and TK and all that stuff.
Well,
right?
almost slightly changed character design.
Right, but
that makes them worse.
Is different, or it is not intended to be a shot-for-shot remake.
No,
it's meant to be
no.
a
It's a reinterpretation.
I almost wish
it's a reboot.
Okay, so a reboot. That's what I meant because
it is a reboot.
I feel like the thing about the original Digimon, I mean, fuck, I haven't watched that since I was a kid. Is like so much of it was leaning into the like, Y2K early 2000s vision of the internet, and the internet is just so different in 2020, and
Yep.
And like,
I mean,
I don't know, man.
I guess that makes sense because in the original Digimon Adventure, the digital world was this weird, like, beautiful dream world, whereas here it's just blue JRPG, blue C-tier JRPG battle background.
God,
just like the real Digimon C-tier JRPGs.
Right.
But yeah, I have no hopes for this because they are clearly like pandering to the nostalgia of people who want literally anything else out of Digimon. Like,
I mean, this sounds
the
like
people
some
who are actually going to
Gen
watch this,
pandering.
namely kids, don't give two craps about the original Digimon Adventure, and the people who do give a crap about the original Digimon Adventure are like saying, like, no, what is this horrible monstrosity? You put these extremely early, like late 90s character designs in this modern setting, and you made them all worse. And why can't we just have this but with new characters? And
I mean, would anybody care if it was new characters? Like, would that even help, or should they just let it die? I mean,
I don't know.
The Digimon era has passed.
It has.
Let's move on with our lives.
Like,
Okay,
unless
here
they
we
can,
are.
unless they can do
I mean,
another,
there's
like,
nothing
Tamers
saying
level.
that there is no place for Digimon in this world, you know.
Right.
No, I think Digimon can work. I mean, even in 2020, right? Because it is always its premise is intrinsically tied to, the kids in their relationship with technology. I think that is a theme that you can always explore. But anyways, hear me out. All right, y'all are like, oh no,
Uh-oh.
this reboot no good. What if the OP is a cover of Butterfly, but composed by Hiroyuki Sawano and Man with a Mission?
Oh my god. I don't know if it's respectful or disrespectful that they keep reusing Butterfly even after the singer has passed.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Like,
that's,
Guy's dead, yo. But the
like,
point is, this looks cynical, and it's written by the same guy who's writing the current Pokemon series, so that's a good indication of quality.
I mean,
current, you mean the one that's not good anymore,
right?
Yeah,
I mean, look,
the
I mean,
Pokemon 2019, as we are.
I mean,
Alright.
again, I remember we watched that recent episode of Pokemon. And we were like, that episode was pretty good. And then I looked up the writers of all of the episodes of the new Pokemon, and the two good episodes were both by Reiko Yoshida.
Yeah.
Hate to
And
see
I was
it.
like, well, that makes sense. I hate that sucks.
All right, well, how about we
Yep.
move on from bad remakes of
Yeah,
old
because the
stuff
good thing is there might
to-
actually be enough good anime made for people our age, so that we don't have to watch
yeah.
kids shows out of shit.
Yeah,
Well,
so
we'll
instead
have
we
to
can watch-
we'll have to talk about those anime later because we have some more bad stuff to talk
Yeah, we
about.
can watch new
Yeah.
remakes.
I mean, you say that,
of-
but Kiramager
of-
is the last thing on this list.
All right, so let's move on to some new shows, which I have broken up into some random categories here. First up, I was going to mention a couple of video game adaptations we're getting next season. Sakura Wars is happening, the anime.
So this is slightly notable to me because it's Sanzigen, right? Who's doing the new Sakura Wars?
Yeah.
So that's
I believe so, yes,
That's a
that's-
Babuki Buranki studio. Also,
Yep.
the same writer of Babuki Buranki is doing
Well,
Sakura Wars.
All right,
It
all
does
right.
appear to be adapting the
Yeah,
new
he wrote the game.
Right.
Yeah,
so
well,
This is like it's especially noteworthy because the game has just come out, you know? This is
Right.
airing almost concurrently with the game's release.
well, it's been out for a couple months in Japan, and it's actually not out in North America yet. I think
Yeah.
it's next.
Yeah, Sega's
it's
really
it's going to be coming out about
Yeah.
when the anime is coming
Sega's
out.
really
mean,
been pushing
yeah.
this one.
In
Yeah.
a ways, this is kind of a callback to that era when a video game would get an anime adaptation around the same time.
Right.
You know, like
Right.
It's the original.
I think they actually did that with previous Sakura
Right.
Wars with
So I
the
was going
terrible
to say is the
Sakura Wars anime.
Oh, was it terrible? Okay,
I
that's
think
what
it
I
was.
gonna
I think it
ask.
was bad. It's been like 20 years, but I think it was bad.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about this one because, like, the new Sakura Wars is, I'm not gonna say controversial, but right, it changes. It's changing the battle system. It's changing the gameplay, compared to the older games. So, I don't know how that landed. Like, I have not paid attention to any import reviews, but I'm curious if the anime will perhaps be, I don't know. For people who are turned off by the new game's approach, like maybe
got
the
your-
anime will be their way to consume.
Having-
Got your Tite Kubo waifus. In it.
Yeah, having played a grand total of one Sakura Wars game in my life, it is a fun concept because it's basically like these musical review groups posing as a
Right.
front for
Yeah.
these demon fighting task force with
I mean,
steampunk
aren't they
mechs
basically
and-
just like 19th century idols? Like that's kind of
well,
So
this
it's-
one, yeah,
So it's
this one's
Macross, except in like the Taisho period instead of
yeah,
in
basically.
space.
Although
Yeah.
this one is in this one takes place in 1930.
Yeah, the
Oh,
Taisho
okay.
era.
in
Alright.
the weird like alternate universe of
Right,
Sakura
where,
Wars where demons and mechs exist concurrently.
Right.
And Japan wasn't an
And-
imperialist hellscape. in
right.
the
Right.
years.
I was
yes.
about to say the part where because demons and mechs exist, apparently imperialism doesn't. So
Yeah. Well, I don't know where this game takes place, but they've taken place in other places outside of Japan too. So like,
well, I think this one is in Japan. I think, right?
Although
It's-
they've like pushed here are these here are the characters from other parts of the world who all have different
Right,
character
the
designers.
Russian girl and the American girl and
Right.
the German
Yeah, I'm reading the
girl.
description. So they're saying the other branches like in Paris and New York and whatnot were destroyed. So this is probably the new one in Japan or
Right.
something. But yeah, the games themselves are interesting because they're probably more visual novel than RPG. Well, they definitely are. And you pick which girl you want to date and all that. So are they gonna pick a girl or are they gonna that's always the question with those.
with that sort
Amagami
of thing.
style, bitches.
Go
God,
Amagami omnibus
Hell
style.
yeah. Just
Just do it, yeah. Why not?
6
You know,
4
shout out to
episode
Amagami.
arcs.
But
Shout out to Amagami. Shout out to Sega.
I mean, in these situations, they always either go with the main girl or go with no one at all. But
Yeah.
It's probably gonna be the main girl, right? She's got main
Yeah.
girl energy.
Her name
written
is
all over
Sakura.
her. Yes.
yes, but I feel like that always kind of has a negative impact on anime adaptations because you end up losing chunks of the story or whatever. But
I mean, the point is that these kinds of anime should not be made because they never give a proper representation of the game's story, and they're just a waste of everyone's time.
just play the game, basically.
Yes, I mean
Right.
that's always Can anyone name one good visual novel adaptation that gives the entire story?
Amagami.
Were we just talking about Amagami?
I
guess,
mean, in a month, Heaven's Feel 3 will be out.
That does
they're-
not give the
and
entire
they're-
story.
and
That's
therefore,
just
from-
1/3 of the story.
And therefore, if you look at all the favorite products from between 2005 and
the
2020,
past 15 years.
we'll cover the entire story.
Yep. Especially when they announced the Fate reboot after the third
Not
movie.
happening.
Yeah, but
Hollow Attraction will happen first.
all right. So
well,
there's that.
they have to do girls' work first.
We need to
In
move
the
on.
Tsukihime remake.
We need to move on.
There's no way in hell Tsukihime will ever get another anime.
Tell us about Princess Connect.
Yeah,
Joel.
what-
Yeah,
What's
so the other two games on the list are actually more side game stuff. Side games is busy. Princess Connect is one of their probably less talked about ones. Sorry, Timmy, I know he plays it, but it's another one of
Also,
their
it's
RPG.
bad.
Yeah, I haven't played it personally, which probably says something. Seeing as
I gotta be honest, man.
These.
These two I just know as the two gotcha games that aren't Grand Blue. That
Okay,
Side
so
Games
so
makes.
Princess Connect it's another RPG, fantasy RPG thing, except this one kind of is way more into cute, colorful character design stuff and more lighthearted than even Grand Blue, which is
Unlike
game.
Grand Blue, which is for connoisseurs of art.
and that's compared to Grand Blue, which had a officially sanctioned Sharknado event. So
Don't forget the Love Live event.
yeah, it is interesting that this is the second series that is fully produced by Side Games themselves. The first one was when they did Mysteria Friends, which took forever to come out, but
Right.
this is
The second bad Ranger Bahamut.
yes. So this
Yeah,
is
but
so this is
also the one everyone remembers,
I
as opposed to
know!
the good one.
The world has no justice.
well, Mysteria Friends had lesbian dragons in it, so that's why everyone remembers. But
Hey, you know what else has lesbian dragons? My fanfic, but you don't see anyone reading that.
well,
God damn it.
shoot us a link, Aqua. I'll put it in the show notes. I'll do the best I can. So yeah, I'm not super excited about this one, but just wanted to mention that I thought it was interesting. Side Games is because the thing with Mysteria Friends, I think it was a half episode short, and I think this is actually a full production. So they're say what you will about Side Games, they're definitely hustlers.
Well,
They got their hands in everything.
speaking
but,
of hustling, tell me about Shadowverse, which I only
So,
know
yes.
of through Evo commercials on Twitch.
So the other, so Shadowverse isn't not actually a gotcha game per se. It's a card game.
It's their
Isn't
Hearthstone.
Shadowverse like the OG Side Games game?
No, that's Ranger Bahamut.
Oh, okay.
But Shadowverse, so Shadowverse is basically like something like Hearthstone, but with anime
Right.
girls.
I
in
know
it.
you can get fake characters as your leaders or whatever.
Yeah, they've had a lot of crossovers with like Fate and they even did Street
So,
Fighter.
the thing is-
you can get Ryu as your leader if you want.
Sure.
But,
Is he a wizard?
I don't remember what class he was, but
That's
it's actually a pretty good. So Shadowverse is actually a pretty good game. I played it for a while. I just don't have time because you really need to like put a lot of
Right.
time into it to be good at, because it's a legitimate card game.
Isn't the thing
So
about
is
this
this
anime?
going to be like an in-universe anime?
Okay,
Or
so
like
here's-
Yu-Gi-Oh
right.
style.
This is the
Yeah,
one
so here's
I
the
know.
thing. Yes, so there is a lot of story and lore they could. What I figured they were going to adapt based on the side game's history of adapting things. I thought they were going to actually adapt the story of Shadowverse, but no, you are correct, Aqua. They're going full Yu-Gi-Oh with this one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh,
It's
good.
it's a full-on kid show with them. Like I saw the trailer starts with. They just put a trailer out this morning, I think, of her second one, but the kid like finds a smartphone in a treasure chest that like, lets him play Shadowverse. Like,
Come
Well, I guess
on.
we gotta get with the times, man. You can't start your show anymore
And
with
it's-
like
and like-
Yugi
and like,
finding the deck of his grandpa. You know,
It's-
I have to find his smartphone and browse
Yes.
through all the porn and open up Shadowverse and see that he
Oh,
has
man.
all the
It's,
5-star ultra rares.
Grandpa,
it's all like these,
Grandpa
like-
only uses bikini ladies in his deck.
it's all like these very bright, garish colored little kids that are the main cast.
Kids
It
show,
looks
got
like-
it.
Like
Yeah, it
three,
looks like your
three-toned
typical-
hair.
Right, with at least 3 colors in their hair, and it's hilarious to me because like the art and like tone of Shadowverse is not a kid's game. Like I think
mean-
it is actually rated T for teen.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it
but
popular with kids, or I mean, I don't. What card
no,
game
it's
is popular
like it's a
with
lot
kids?
of like half naked anime women and like skeletons and monsters.
So
and
is
demons and stuff
Yu-Gi-Oh!
like that.
I mean,
Well, like I've always described the Shadowverse art style as like sticking anime girls in like 80s metal album covers,
Sure.
because there's a lot of like skeletons with swords and like overly shaded demons and stuff like that. But
ladies
Yeah,
wearing
so-
no clothes. Ladies wearing
yes, and
no
and
skin.
scantily clad women. Yes, so fighting with skeletons or being carried off by 80s metal stuff. But yeah, so I don't know how that's supposed to mesh with a kids show. I mean, in the trailer they show some of the characters, but they've like intentionally picked like the more fully clothed ones or some of the male characters because there are actually male characters. But yeah, so it's an interesting choice to say the least. I have a feeling people who actually like Shadowverse are not going to be super happy about it.
I mean, I was gonna say, is
But-
this just the PSO2 anime all over again? Of
Nobody
The
cares
anime
because
is
it's
like-
about people playing the game. And
right,
just go
right,
play the
like
game.
like the anime is as distanced from what people might actually want from an anime adaptation as possible.
Yeah, this might be like when they made that Idolmaster anime and it was all like fighter jets or something. What was that?
Yeah,
Me-
yeah,
mechs or something. I
Xenoglossia.
forget. Yeah,
What was up with? Because every now and then I see clips.
I
of
still
that,
don't
and
to this
I-
day understand what the deal was.
I
with
was always
that, but
curious what happened there.
It was really weird. All right, so probably not a whole lot more to say about that. I just thought that one was pretty funny. And let's just move along. So next block of things I wanted to talk about. Crunchyroll officially announced their Crunchyroll Originals branding, kind of ripping off Netflix.
Didn't they
They're-
do that like 2 years ago with High Guardian Spice?
Well, the thing is, that
Well-
that never came out, and
Yeah, that hasn't come out yet, and that was also only like a year ago or something. But
Is it? Wow.
well, if,
Age of
I know
Legends.
2020 feels like 10 years have gone by already, but
Last weekend feels like 10 years gone by.
they're
already.
kind of so. This is a little bit different than the High Guardian Spice thing, although that is included in the Crunchyroll Originals because that was specifically talking about them opening their own animation studio where they're
Yeah.
actually making the anime themselves.
right.
They're kind of copying Netflix on this, where
It's like stuff right there in the
anything-
production committee.
anything like if they gave the executive producer $10, they're allowed to stick their name.
Yes, yeah.
Flipping the Fiverr
that
under the
play.
table.
Yeah, so some of these they're actually creating, and then some of these. So like for example,
Inspector.
they've actually included Inspector, which is airing this
Yeah.
season under the Crunchyroll Originals banner, and I guess the big notable thing
Right.
happening.
This is the thing that's like interesting to me.
Yeah, so the interesting part of this is next season they've announced an anime called Tower of God, which is based on
Like super popular Korean webcomic.
Yes. So that's the first
boy.
of at least 3 shows that they've announced, but I think that's the only. I think Tower of God's the only one coming out next season.
Well, you mean those ones that always get released as like really
Yes.
long images? They have to like
Yes.
scroll down through.
And
Yes.
that are like all bad.
Yeah, so like so they're doing Tower of God. There's another one called The God of High School, and another one called Noblesse, which I've actually heard of.
I think that had
But-
an anime previously, actually.
Yeah, I think it might have, but so I don't know if any of us particularly care about this, but it is probably a very savvy
Right. That's like
business move.
That was like what I thought to myself when I saw that these
Yeah.
are happening. Was like, oh, Crunchyroll bankrolling like anime of these things that are very popular among certain people, like among a certain crowd, but normally would probably never get anime.
right.
Seems
It's
like
like-
really clever. To
It's
me.
maybe anime adjacent, but it's a different fan base for sure.
Right.
And
I mean,
expanding
it
outside
is,
of the
it is a way to differentiate yourself, and I think that is, regardless of how I feel about these series or how I think they'll turn out, I think that when you are competing with the likes of Netflix, who is just for better or worse, Netflix can afford to put up the money, the big bucks to get guys like Yuasa to do their Devilman Crybabies and such, and I think that for a
Right.
smaller company like Crunchyroll, it's kind of a savvy idea to go after these things that are like undoubtedly super popular, but with a completely different demographic. And I'm kind of curious how it'll go. I've always been curious about Crunchyroll as a company and like how do they stay.
Stay
I'm
relevant.
not saying they're on the verge of collapsing or anything. I think they've done pretty well for themselves, but I always do wonder like where do you go from anime streaming, right? Because
right, you're
there
going
is
to hit
kind
a
of a
saturation
ceiling on
point
that.
where you're not going to be
Right.
getting in
Like they
tons of
tried
more
to
subscriptions.
break into like manga, and as far as I know, like that's still going fine for them. But
That's gone terribly.
has it gone terribly?
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, like, they haven't licensed a new manga in years.
Oh, okay.
Well,
They barely even mention their manga anymore.
All I
Yeah,
know
and you
is that
don't-
there's certain things they have that I would like to read.
They have To Your Eternity, and
Yeah.
that's about it.
Yeah, I
Like, they
think
had
they-
Attack on Titan. They have Attack on Titan, I guess.
I think they have Drifting Dragons.
Do they?
Yeah,
think.
they don't even charge extra for it anymore.
Yeah.
It's just part of the package. But as far as this series itself, it sounds like a battle anime where they fight their way up a tower or something. I don't know.
I read the first couple chapters
Much
to
original.
to get a
Yeah.
handle on what this is, and
and the trailer doesn't. There's something seems off about it to me.
that tracks because it's all seemed off when I was reading the first few chapters. It's there's
like
Yeah.
off in terms of like what the narrative,
There's-
or off in terms of like the presentation, like.
presentation.
Yes.
There's hardly any coherency to like. There's no consistency rather to everything. You have like
Yeah.
Lizard
What is-
Man,
what-
and then this dude's wearing like a polo shirt and has a bag, and this dude's like a lizard, and it's like,
Oh, like the art direction. Okay.
yeah, I don't know. It's weird,
Really, all I know about Tower of God is that it's, like, regularly the highest rated
right?
manga on, like, shady scanlation sites.
Yes, that is like where I know the names Tower of God and God of High School
Yeah.
from. It's because people love those things, and I'm looking
I
at the
guess that's
title
what I
and
mean,
I'm like,
right?
fuck
Like if
that.
they're
Is this kind of like
is this the Homestuck of anime? Like
Ooh.
this incredibly niche thing that has an extremely
Oh, it
loyal
might be.
fan base, but
I
like
mean,
no
I-
one
I-
else knows.
I don't think this thing is that niche, though. I think we're just not connected to that fan base.
right.
It's
not-
just
we're
like
just not
a
hip with
whole
the
part
kids.
of the anime fan base that we do not interact with.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, again, probably a smart business move, but I don't know if it's going to be any good. But
Yeah.
I guess we'll give it a shot, as we give everything a
Uh-huh.
shot.
Okay.
Yeah, and then, like I said, I think that's the only one coming out this season, but there are more to come. And also, they are still doing there's a couple other new original shows that they're like directly have a hand in creating. So
I mean, haven't they been doing it for a long time? Crunchyroll was on the production committee for like Shield Hero, for example.
Yeah, they have been. I think this is more of a for those types of shows. I think this is more of a branding thing. They're kind of bringing it all under one umbrella to copy Netflix, basically, because Netflix does the same thing where they have shows that they actually produce and or have a hand in creating, but then they also, like I said, they slip somebody $20 and they can stick their name on it.
They even when it's like we have the exclusive streaming rights, then it already gets called a Netflix original.
Exactly. So Netflix Originals presents Beastars, which by the way did come out this Friday. Please watch that.
Check out the adventures of Regoshi and Ruiz and Hal.
Netflix finds it. Okay, I don't want to get too sidetracked here, but the dub is very good.
All right.
But for some reason, and they pretty much pronounce the names properly in the dub, but in the descriptions, yes, they have all the L's swapped to R's that should probably be L's. But that's a very good series. I know everybody out there has nothing better to do.
One might
You're all stuck
say
at home.
it's the best anime of 2019.
Yes.
We could certainly make that argument.
I know you all have nothing better to do because you're all stuck at home, so please watch that.
Yeah, just go back and listen.
We're homestuck.
Oh God! All right, let's move on.
Well, speaking of
animal people, yeah.
Oh yes, I was setting up the segue.
You mean speaking of overrated garbage?
No.
All right, let's talk about BNA, which actually comes out next week.
That's terrifying to me.
It's ahead of all the other shows, but specifically this one.
They're pre-airing the first 6 episodes on Netflix.
Jesus Christ,
next week.
For 6 episodes? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So
wow.
So G, why don't you tell us what BNA is?
We got our hands full covering that one next in a couple of weeks, but yeah, BNA is the newest original Trigger anime. From the people you love, the people who make the Kill la Kills and the Little Witch Academias and the Inferno Cops.
Rest in peace.
Yes, rest in peace, Inferno Cop. But yeah, BNA, it's so the premise, as we were kind of alluding to, is it's some sort of like animal people story, though in BNA it seems that it is not necessarily an animal people story, but more of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles situation or like a Street Shark situation. Which would be very on brand for Trigger.
Yeah.
Of humans getting mutated into animal people.
Because all the characters have like a human character design and an animal character design.
Yeah. And
do they transform back and forth, or is this like a permanent?
No clue.
Honestly, I have not been keeping that close of tabs on BNA. I kind of want to be surprised by it, so I haven't been paying.
This is original, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yoshinari Nakashima combo.
Yeah, as Iro just stated, probably the most interesting thing about this is that is the combination of director and writer on this. Yoshinari of Little Witch Academia fame is kind of always considered kind of pre-Gridman. He was kind of considered the dark horse of Trigger's stable.
He's the softer one as opposed to
more heartful director,
loud, stylish one.
Right. But he is teaming up with Nakashima, who is usually the classic Imaishi collaborator, Imaishi
he wrote
and
all
Nakashima.
the hot-blooded stuff like Gurren Lagann and Kill la Kill and Promare.
And Kamen Rider Forze.
Kamen Rider Forze, indeed.
And Batman
honestly,
Kamen Rider Forze.
Batman Ninja.
Oh yeah.
So it's interesting because, at least we are now
expect those two to.
Right. We are 3 for 3 on the Imaishi Nakashima combo, but Yoshinari and Nakashima is untested, and even Yoshinari himself. I love the Little Witch Academia OVAs, but as a TV director, Yoshinari is still kind of untested. The Little Witch Academia TV anime has good moments, but is largely kind of uneven, especially.
Yeah, it's a little up and down.
But isn't that mostly a writing issue? Because the direction and animation has been pretty much on point for that show. Wouldn't you agree?
So I would agree. Yes, I mean, I think visually Yoshinari is still, like one of the best out there. So I'm really hopeful that, with Nakashima on writing, like, look, we're not like, I'm not saying that as like, oh man, Nakashima's gonna write like some Beastars tier shit, but like more that like he will be able to lend Yoshinari's visuals the kind of like consistent bombastic quality that you might expect from Trigger. I think that for better or worse, like, I'm definitely looking forward to B&A. I'm very excited for it, but I think that
it's hard not to be apprehensive on some level.
Yeah, and not only that, but I think that even, I don't want to like hedge my bets this early, but I think that like for better or worse, B&A is going to be a very familiar Trigger anime. It's in a post SSS Gridman world. I'm not expecting B&A to, really blow our minds, and it's not going to have Promare's like conventional but extremely a technical spectacle. I think B&A is probably going to be a more I don't know. I say middle of the road, but middle of the road for Trigger still means something. Look, the last episode, they're probably going to go to space in the last episode.
Middle of the road for Trigger is like Space Patrol Luluco or like Inferno Cop, like
right.
stuff like that.
I mean, my point is like, look, they will probably fight aliens in the last episode of B&A. Like
right? Yes.
They're going to space.
Bet money on that.
Yeah.
But, it's like, I don't mind something that is going to be a predictable but probably enjoyable quantity, so...
Yeah, I just I'm
as
wondering...
long as they don't try to give it a message like they did with Kill la Kill, because... Oh boy.
Oh, I don't know, they... Well... I'm of the mind that I largely enjoyed Kill la Kill for the spectacle. I'm not the kind of person who would make the argument that Kill la Kill has anything particularly nuanced to say.
Are we going to have to put up with any B&A versus B-Stars discourse?
Oh, absolutely.
I hope not. As somebody who had to live through...
I mean, we hope not, but,
Again, as somebody who had to live through the Beastars versus Zootopia discourse, I have already seen the worst of what the animal
gonna be back.
Yeah, and it's going to be bad. It's going to be awful. It's going to be terrible. People are going to...
is it confirmed that this is going to have a quote-unquote metaphorical layer to it? Or is it just like, hey, here are these funny animals?
I don't think we know yet.
I mean,
there really hasn't been much...
As much as maybe unintentionally that, like, Nakashima accidentally stumbles into the metaphor in Promare that the anti-immigration police shoot ice. Like, there will probably be things that you could make parallels to, but I wouldn't go in expecting anything,
From what it sounds like, the Beastars versus Utopia discussion makes more sense than...
Right, because,
B&A
as much as I dislike the
Beastars,
comparison, they are both technically kind of social parables of a sort. Whereas,
right.
I hope people take one look at B&A, and it's like, it's going to be so outlandish, it's going to be so goofy, like, I don't think that... It would not be a comparison that makes sense to me, anyways. Like the focus of the two are going to be, again, I am speculating about B&A here. For all I know, look, for all I fucking know, B&A's got an episode about a chicken laying eggs, okay? But as far as I know, like...
Yeah, but I mean, like, Beastars and Zootopia are very clearly like, what if society, but with animals?
Right,
whereas this is clearly going to be some shit like, oh no, a space wizard turned everyone into an animal, like, let's do wacky things and fight him.
Right, also, let's just, probably bring Amaishi in for one scene where the street sharks show up, because for some reason,
God, they will, won't they?
Amaishi fucking loves the street sharks. I don't know
so
why.
we're betting high on the street sharks cameo.
Yes.
It's almost guaranteed.
It's inevitable.
All
Okay.
right.
I don't know why of all the fucking 90s cartoons, that's the one Amaishi has a strange affinity for, but...
It makes... I don't know why either, but it does kind of make sense. My gut instinct tells me
because they're sharks and they live on the streets.
And they're
it's like two cool things together.
Right. What's next?
Screw the Ninja Turtles. Like, ninjas are cool, but turtles are lame. But like sharks and on the street, that's like two cool things.
What about the Ninja Turtles Power Rangers in Space crossover episode?
All right, let's move along to listeners.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have been keeping an eye on this one, but
This looks interesting.
It looks.
is this basically like Mappa doing Fooly Cooly if we're going to give an elevator pitch?
I'd say it's closer to Mappa doing Eureka 7, actually.
Yeah, because
Well,
this
it
is
does
the,
have some of the
Eureka
s-
Why,
that
why,
staff,
why
right?
Fooly Cooly? I'm a little bit confused.
The music stuff makes me,
Well, I mean,
gives me that vibe to it. But
sure, okay, I can kind of see that. I think.
yeah, it's this. So this is an original production. It is the writer from Eureka 7, right?
Yes, it is
Yes.
Dai Sato.
Yeah. It's one of those, there's no music does not exist in this world until this
course.
guy finds a mysterious girl and they have to go find Jimi Hendrix or something.
What? Sorry?
Wait,
Run that by me
another
again?
Jimi Hendrix manga?
Yeah. So, well, I was just reading the description. It says they go on a journey to uncover her origins, and Jimmy, with an I, the enigmatic pivotal figure or whatever.
Huh.
So,
Huh.
I just thought Jimi Hendrix, but anyway, it looks cool.
Look.
I like the
Eureka
style
7
of it.
Eureka 7 fans have been burned hard in the last decade, so.
Isn't that a new movie still coming out?
Oh,
That,
boy,
like,
don't even get-
appears to have no resemblance to Eureka 7
do not
whatsoever.
even get me started on the Eureka 7 movies for which the only value the Eureka 7 movies have is that admittedly there is some really good hand-drawn mecha animation in those movies, but otherwise I don't understand what happened to Eureka 7. It confounds me. I can't get into it. I just everything other than the first series, I just don't understand what happened to it. Why it got so bad.
Well,
But-
I mean, my opinions on
I
7
know,
are
I
well
know,
documented.
I know you don't like Eureka 7.
Time and
Anyways,
place.
point is, to get back to listeners, it very much feels like, based on the PVs, like it very much feels like Daisato is trying to recapture that energy, right? Like goofy, visually interesting cast, robots, some, I mean, Eureka 7 was not like explicitly about music, but it was a very musically inclined anime, if that makes sense.
Right,
Like,
yes.
It had a lot of insert songs, like it had, its soundtrack is legendary. Its OPs are legendary. So I definitely
I'm watching the newer PV, which I hadn't seen, and yeah, I can see more leaning toward Eureka 7.
and
But also I should point out I'm assuming robot people have giant audio input jacks in their
right,
bodies.
yes. The mysterious girl just has a straight up fucking just like an audio jack at the base of her hip. Which,
Oh, of
you
course.
know-
Just so she have you mean like as a tail or
or no, not a not the jack. My bad. The port.
right,
What is it
right.
called?
Yeah.
Right, the
So I'm saying
port
when it's
Yeah.
plugged in, does it look
is
like
like
a
in
tail?
her.
Oh,
It's a little
probably.
higher up on her back, I think.
Okay,
But
fine.
I saw in the trailer there's other people that have them too in different parts of their body.
But yeah, I don't know. The mechs don't look that great. I got to be honest. Like, it's CG, which is one thing, but then it's the other thing of like, again, say what you will about Eureka 7, but like, they got fucking, oh my god, why am I blanking on his name? Kawamori. They had fucking Kawamori doing the mech designs
Right,
for
right.
Eureka 7. Like, that's, like the Nervosh is
Yeah.
a cool looking robot.
I like
And-
the style and the mood of it, but I guess whether or not it's gonna have anything to back that up, I don't know.
Yeah,
but
I mean, this,
Make,
I
making
guess
us nostalgic for the early 2000s is fine.
Yeah, sure. And I'm still gonna check this out. I think it's just, this is my obligatory mecha fan hedging their bets and not letting themselves believe in anything because it's too risky to do that in 2020. So,
Yeah.
I feel like Grand Belm is probably the last good mecha anime I'm going to have watched in a long time. So,
All right. So yeah, I guess it's an original, so we don't really have much else to compare or anything on that. We'll just have to wait and see. But I do think it looks cool.
I'd rather
Yeah.
get like an unproven original than like another fucking Isekai light novel adaptation.
Oh,
or whatever.
totally.
Well, speaking of an unproven
Yeah.
original,
Yeah.
although I think we all like this premise a
Right,
lot
that
more.
first like trailer kind of sold all of us on this. Like,
Look, man,
yeah.
like as time and time again, fiction has shown that like the best filler episode is the baseball episode, but the second best filler episode is the wacky races episode.
Yes, so we're talking about
JoJo's Bizarre
APPARE-RANMAN.
Adventure, Part 7, Steel Ball Run.
we're talking about APPARE-RANMAN,
Yeah,
which
from
is
PA Works.
A crossover between Yatterman and Anpan Man.
God.
so this is the new PA Works show, which is a bit different than the usual PA Works shows. Well,
I mean,
they do have a
they've been
reputation for
putting
some
out,
weird,
weird stuff outside their
fantasy
wheelhouse
stuff.
the past few years.
This is
Right.
from the creator of Tari Tari, though.
well, we'll get to that in a
I
second.
don't even remember
but
which one Tartari is.
the premise is anime race across Wild West America.
Yeah, basically a samurai and his engineer buddy get stranded in America, and they gotta win the big race, the big trans-country race to...
For the
money
corpse
to
of
go.
Jesus
Big-
Christ.
There's a big cast of colorful characters and weird
Right, you know,
vehicles.
like, it gives me a lot of Redline vibes.
Right,
you know,
yeah.
like, where I feel like a lot of the appeal of this is going to be, you know, the racers and their gimmicks and, you know, their weird cars. And it's got a real
Right.
slick look to it. Like, I really like the character design. I really like the art I've seen so far. It's
It's very creative.
Yeah.
It's very distinct looking.
yeah, it's got a style. And yeah, it's interesting that's PA Works. I mean, again, they have started to do some, you know, not all of their anime are either, you know, women in their young 20s struggling with, you know, their profession of choice or a supernatural romance. They're now starting to get into some other material, but it's, you know, they're not the studio I would have pegged for something like this.
They do quality work though, so like I'm glad that you know there's somebody who can provide the appropriate level of like technical competency to make something like this
Well, I mean,
cool.
I think we'll see, right? Because
Well, like what was that one show they did that you guys liked?
Sirius
Sirius
the
the
Jaeger.
Jaeger.
Yeah, Sirius the Jaeger. Yeah,
Well, I mean, the thing with Sirius the Jaeger is like, I mean, that was PA Works, but also the staff was like, you know, it was the director of Sword and the Stranger. You know, it was it was a show that had a lot of like solid like backing behind it. You know, a solid action backing behind it, and I'm not as familiar with the staff on APPARE-RANMAN, but
Let's see here.
was it really the writer of Tari Tari? Because that's not a good sign.
It is. It is.
Oh boy.
Yes, he was director and series composition on Tari Tari, and he's got the same titles here. So,
well,
Remind
Wait,
me
what was
remind me
Tari? I'm
about
not-
Tari Tari.
yeah.
okay, Tari Tari was a
PA Works.
it
show.
was anime Glee.
Like I just like recognize that title as one of the dozen PA Works style
massive,
PA Works shows.
The
Yes.
massive shows we covered in 2012 and 2013 that all blend together.
Yes.
Yeah, it was okay, but I
Yeah.
would
It
I would
had-
describe the writing as a weak point.
It had that cool girl
Fair.
with the hat.
Yes, it had the one really cool girl in it that is forever in my waifu list. But otherwise the writing fell
Well,
flat. There was a
okay,
lot
then.
of like.
On the
dumb
other hand, is
shoehorned
this a show
romance
that
plots.
needs writing?
right, I
Well,
guess-
that was kind of gonna be my point. This is so far in the other direction that maybe that's not really a good
I mean,
indicator.
I think
of,
yes and no. Like on one hand, something this goofy, you're like, well, it doesn't even need plot. But then again, like I feel like I don't know. I guess as I've grown older and watched a lot of anime, including ones that are self-described as like goofy and the plot doesn't really matter. But like, then why do we still talk about writers like Nakashima so much if
Yeah.
like if like you don't need to be a good writer to write like enjoyable schlock, and I think that
Right.
I think that even like
I'm going to be saying something similar when we get to Kiramager. So
right, like I think that like a bad writer is still going to write poorly even if the story's not that important, right? So I think
like we shouldn't necessarily equate good writing with like having
compelling plot.
Or having like a deep message, or like being like super meaningful or something like that. You still need to be able to. You still need to be a good writer to pull off something that's going to be more maybe fun or silly or whatever, and not have it us just rolling our eyes the whole time. But it's again, I think we all love the premise. The trailers look like they're a lot of fun, and now we just got to see if they can execute.
Yeah, I think that's
always a big question. So
that's the crux of it.
The Rolling Girls Award for this year goes to...
Oh, God. Right? Like, I mean, that's the thing, right? That's the worst case scenario, is this ends up being a Rolling Girls of, like, holy shit, those first 3 episodes, and then by the end of the season, we're all just, like, hands in our head, or head in our hands.
Rolling Girls had a lot of problems.
Just
Writing
saying,
was one of them. But,
like, boy, remember APPARE-RANMAN? How excited we got at the start of the season?
Yeah.
There's always one of those.
Yeah.
All right. Well, remember earlier when we were talking about you didn't want to talk about shows that are just romance shows anymore?
Is that the next up?
Yeah, so I
like
threw this on here.
Or something? Oh no, just the next one.
Yeah, I threw this on here. It's Yesterday Utate, or Sing Yesterday for me.
Is this like notable?
This is actually Doga Kobo doing a show that's not starring a pedophile, at least not as far as we know.
Oh, wow, Doga Kobo. I haven't heard that name in several years.
Yes. So this actually looks like this is like well, the description, some millennial school graduate who can't get a college graduate who can't get a job.
Relatable.
And,
you say millennial, and that's funny because this is a manga from the 1990s.
Yes, well, I'm just assuming that's going to be more relatable to the millennial crowd
hashtag
right now.
relatable.
Yes, and kind of like when we were rewatching Evangelion, and I was talking about Masato being
just got skateboard,
but
hashtag live goals.
And I guess it's I guess this is going to be a romance story with. I just want to know why this girl has a pet crow. That seems to be the only weird hook so far.
That's awesome.
But otherwise, it looks very like kind of down to earth. Like the characters all like have normal hair color and all that stuff like that. And
this is
because it's dope. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, this is based on a manga by Kei Tome, who is a great mangaka who is finally getting the anime that she deserves.
What else has she done?
Nothing because like no, okay. I mean,
well, yeah,
a lot of this stuff was turned into an anime,
right.
Like she's mostly manga, but like she specializes in like.
I got confused. I'm sorry, because Doga Kobo is doing 2 anime next season.
Yes,
and I was like, "What y'all talking about? Like, it's just some girls fishing." Like,
no, yeah, they're also making sure to get their paycheck.
Sorry, keep going
with that other show, but yes.
But Kei Tome is mostly noteworthy for her like nice, like hand drawn, sketchy sort of art style.
Sure,
one of those. Okay,
and and her references to rock music, which is both apparent from the title of this show, Sing Yesterday for me, referring to the eponymous Beatles song.
Okay.
And as well, I think the main character plays the guitar or something like that. Like, I think I know this is one of her, like, music adjacent works. The other one being, what's it called? Damn, I should have looked this up. Electric Rock Princess or something like that, which is like about this girl whose dad is like a worn out rock star and she gets recruited into a band. So she's a girl she's a woman, with passions that are adjacent to mine, so I'm pretty interested in this show.
Sure.
And it looks like there's only like a little clip out right now. It looks really nice.
Yeah.
I mean, Dogakobo, maybe they could use their powers for good for once.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Aqua, since you're familiar with the source material, do you think this is Dogakobo's chance for redemption?
I am actually not familiar with the source material. I've read some case.
Oh, you're familiar with the author.
I've read some of her manga before, but not this
I
one.
see. Okay.
Because it's like 100 chapters, and I have the attention span of a fly. So
yeah, it is. It's an older manga and it is complete.
yes,
So
Okay.
that's
Okay.
encouraging
Always
as well. So I always like to hear that because that means there's some hope of the story actually finishing. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, as as G mentioned, Dogakobo is making another like
I was so
fishing club
confused.
anime
I was looking
something.
at Anichart. I was looking at what Dogakobo is doing next season. I was like, millennials? Are you
Yeah.
sure these girls look like they're 12 or something?
Yeah, so I didn't even really look at that one. Because I feel like I can already fill the blanks in with my mind.
No, I don't
on
think we
what
need to
kind of
talk
show.
about it. I was just so confused. It's like, I don't know. This is the one, guys. It just looks like cute girls fishing or something.
They still got bills to pay, but but hopefully this one turns out to be pretty good. I just want to know whether the girl has a crow. That's all. But anyway,
maybe
let's
she's
move on
the
to another.
reincarnation of Odin.
This is anime. Who knows, right?
We need to get her an eye patch then.
All right. Let's move on. I don't know what the deal is with this show, but it was weird enough
Right.
that I was interested in it.
It's like a radio.
So the name of the show is Wave Listen to Me or Namio Kiete Kure. I don't know. Stop throwing out my bad Japanese here. This is this is actually this is gonna be a manga adaptation by Sunrise. Which is Sunrise not doing Gundam
or like
or
the
Mecha Show.
fucking B
Or
tier,
Love Live.
right? Or some
Or-
B tier Sunrise original mecha anime.
Right.
Body complex.
It's about this girl this woman that gets tangled up into being on a radio show talking about her life or something.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, let
it's-
me tell you about OA, which is a cool manga that should get an anime, but it's not this one. But OA is
Is it about a
about
radio
like,
host?
an idol who like acts up so she gets dumped by her agency, and they're like, and at the same time, this radio station is like, yeah, we got her, like, we got this idol to do a new radio show for us. And then they realize that it's the idol that got dumped. So they're like, we don't know what to do with her. And then it turns out that there's this janitor working at the radio station who has the exact same voice as the idol. Except she's also an aspiring comedian. So they put them both in the studio to have them both act out being the same person. Or the idol does like the generic idol talk, and then the janitor bumps in with like jokes. But this is not that show. This is
I think this
Weirdly
is less.
specific premise.
This seems less complicated. Like this, it looks like this woman was like a waitress or something, and she was complaining at work, and like somebody at the radio heard her story and like told it on air, and then she got mad and ran to the station, and then ends up being on
So
the radio or
basically,
something.
like the premise of Wave Listen to Me is like, so only a few chapters have actually been translated, and not that well, frankly. So I can only speak to like the first couple of chapters, but
Okay.
it seems like it is kind of your not standard, but like your classic like mid-20s millennial angst, getting through life sort of story. Like, yeah, the main character, she just got out of a really bad breakup. She's in her mid-20s. She's like working at a restaurant, just trying to get through life, and basically, after the breakup, she decides to just go on a hell of a bar crawl, and ends up hanging out with this dude who's a radio producer, and she's like drunk off her ass, and she's basically like, you know what? Let me go on your radio show. I got some things to say about men. And,
Okay.
and so she
Then
does.
that all makes sense. Then
And
yes.
then the next day, when she has no recollection of what happened, hears herself on the radio, and
No.
yes, basically she gets dragged into the wild world of
Nighttime radio.
talk show radio hosting,
Sure.
I guess.
Apparently
This is by the author of Blade of the Immortal,
Right,
by
I
the
was
way.
about to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's it's
Talk about a change for your second work or whatever.
I mean, you'd be
needed a
surprised
break.
how often that happens,
Right,
man.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
again, like I think that the classic example, of course, is like Slam Dunk, right?
Right,
Like,
yes.
The author went on to write the other big seinen samurai manga,
Or,
Vagabond,
or Silver Spoon.
or Silver Spoon from Full Metal Alchemist. Yeah, like I think it is always neat when a manga author like kind of goes.
You don't want to do the same thing,
Right, like they go in like a
Right.
totally opposite direction, and it's kind of fun to always see like, oh, like yeah, there's sensibilities here about like how characters react to things, but like in entirely different scenarios. Like for example, not dealing with a horrible samurai with decapitated heads grafted onto his shoulders. Instead, it's just like the daily angst of being a millennial in modern Japan, I guess. But
All right.
again, I can't speak to the quality because only a couple chapters have been translated, and it seemed fine for what it was. It certainly seems like a thing that I might be into, just in terms of like, I don't know, day-to-day life, but adults instead of kids. So
Right. Yep. I think that's why I felt like I don't know what's going on, but maybe we should check this out.
also takes place in Hokkaido, continuing the weird trend of like
Sure.
that place being a weirdly popular spot for anime in the last few years.
Huh. Okay.
It speaks to the imagination, because, like, snow, I guess. No,
Right, and
So
like,
it's probably like an easy excuse to have
Well,
to be,
well,
like slightly behind the times, like dealing with radio.
yeah.
Yeah, and more wilderness up there, I guess. So a little bit more. Of
and
a,
I think well, for G and Iroh, snow is a magical
I
concept,
don't know what
right?
snow
so,
is.
yeah, like snow is a fantasy like concept to us. It's
yeah.
snow
Well,
is
G,
about
you've
as
lived in
fantastical
the
as floating
Northeast, so
islands
you
to
know,
a
but,
Californian. So
yeah.
like,
All right. Let's move along. So
I don't know what you're
I threw
talking
this
about.
one
There's
on
a
here
lot
'cause-
of cocaine going around LA.
different
well,
kind of
yes.
snow in LA.
I don't think that's the kind of snow they have in Hokkaido, or at least not what we're talking about. But so I think it's possible the long streak of perfectly fine dad anime is coming to an end. I don't know for sure.
I'm sorry, but like you've had this next one page that is that anime ruined, and that anime was ruined from the start, man. That anime
Bunny
started
Drop
with
screwed
Bunny
all.
Drop.
Bunny Drop poisoned the well from the very start. Like,
Okay,
Say
but
Sweetness,
yes,
like,
Sweetness and
irrevocably-
Lightning is great. The manga is great.
but since that time we have had other.
We've had Listen to Me, Girls.
dad
I am
anime.
your father.
Was that before or after Bunny Drop?
That was after.
After for sure.
But
And we've
we
had
had
that
like
dumb isekai. If it's for my daughter, I'll even destroy the demon lord. That has a similar twist to Bunny Drop.
okay, well we've had good ones
Sweetness
too.
and Lightning.
We've had good and bad.
yeah, like Sweetness and Lightning is good. Look,
We've had,
Somali
like-
is fine.
We've had like
two
two good ones.
Like,
I'm counting Hinamatsuri.
yeah, Hinamatsuri,
Alright.
great dad anime. So that's like
That's a-
2.5. Like, I mean, look, the dad in Somali is a robot, so it's a little different, but-
I think if I went back, Somali is definitely a dad anime.
I mean, yes.
I think if I went back through the list, I could find more. But anyway, this one is the premise is the dad is a single father that also draws.
Oh no.
I don't know if it's like explicit manga or just raunchy, as this
All right.
description is
I
saying.
already want to just move on.
But and I guess the comedy is him trying to hide this from his young daughter.
This is by the author of Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei, right? Another extremely unfunny manga that somehow got 5 different seasons.
Oh, hey.
Is it the same
It's the same guy.
author?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei's got
I don't know.
it's got
I don't
great
know if
OP.
that's for this particular scenario. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Man, remember the
The-
days when Shaft shat out the show every season? And like half
Yeah,
of
what-
them
what
were
are-
new
what are
seasons
they
of
doing these
Zetsubo
days?
Sensei or Hiramari Sketch.
I don't know what Shaft is up to.
Are they still doing like Madoka movies or something? I don't
thought
know.
they must. I don't know. Like a Monogatari movie comes out like every 2 to 3 years, so I just assume that's
I
what
don't
they've
know.
been doing.
Swimming in money, that's what they're doing.
Yeah. The trailer looked surprisingly like serious, so I don't know what the whole tone they're going for here on is, but that premise raises some eyebrows for sure.
Yeah.
Also, this is one of those manga that is like the premise is a pun. Because like Kakushigoto means secret or something, but it also means to draw. So like his secret is that he draws pervy comics. And like I think another word
Japan loves their puns.
I think like isn't Setsubo Sensei also known for like a lot of puns?
Yeah, I mean I always remember like the Sayonara Setsubo Sensei anime was like during the kind of Wild West of fan subbing, and like you would definitely have like multiple subgroups feuding over how to interpret the puns because some of them were like extremely obscure or required like an extremely good understanding of the Japanese language to understand. So translations would.
I think Joshiraku is also by this guy, and that was another show everyone like feuded over, like the translation of all the puns because it was about Rakugo.
Well, yeah, that's gonna cause problems translation wise.
Yeah.
The Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei did have the great OPs though.
Yeah, those OPs are fucking god tier.
I just want to shout those out, but at the very least. So yeah, I don't know. I like I said, the premise on this one definitely raises some eyebrows. I don't know. Maybe they're going to completely reverse it, and I will be wrong. But
speaking of raised eyebrows, Jill, why did you add Gleipnir to
what is this?
Interesting.
Like
okay, so this is probably going to be the worst show of the season, but
I don't know.
It's so weird. I just had to talk about it.
It's definitely one of those.
All I know about it is that it's like a guy who turns into a creepy dog suit, and a naked girl with very weird boobs is in it.
This is okay. What?
I mean, are you guys familiar with the source at all? Because I had no idea what it was. I just saw it and was like, wow, this is bizarre.
Cultural osmosis, the most I've picked up on Gleipnir is that it is that sort of like Gantz adjacent, like
great,
violent, gory, booby seinen.
Yeah.
But with like a really weird art style. This is like
I will say that I've seen some panels of the manga.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess from what I can tell, the main guy can turn into like some what looks like a living like mascot suit thing.
Yeah.
Oh, Five Nights at Freddy's.
And he meets some like hot girl that can climb into the suit and control him or something.
This is just like the author's weird fetish, like
probably.
I just want to be crawled into by a hot girl.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like the art, like when they unzip the back, it's all like meaty and gross. Yeah, it was just so weird. Like we'll get to this question later. I have a feeling this is probably going to be the worst show of the season. Just in my gut instinct. Like nothing in the trailer looks particularly like super bad or anything, but just there's no way this is going to go right
I mean, I think it's just. I mean, I don't even know if it's going to be the worst or if it's just going to be like it is exactly what you I think you're going to expect it to be, right? Like it is. You know, it is going to be gory. There's going to be a lot of fan service. Like, people are probably going to say some real edgy, fucked up shit.
When we say the worst, we like sort of immediately discount all the like isekai and
right. Like I'm thinking,
bad,
like you know,
like this is just Love Life. We're trying to pitch a gacha game, idol shows.
Right.
Like
this is like they're actually trying.
Sure.
Like this
I was
is
gonna say because of isekai, I feel like the anime Overton window has been so like skewed. Like I look at something like this and I'm like, well, does it have rape and slavery in it? Like if not, then it can't be the worst of the season.
Well, it might. So the other weird thing with this is it's done by Pine Jam, who I guess they're still alive.
Who? What did they
barely.
do?
They did Aqua's cult favorite Just Because,
Yeah.
and my cult favorite Gamers.
Great,
Huh,
sure.
okay.
Two shows that fell apart as they were airing.
Yes, two shows that the production completely fell apart by the last couple
Good.
episodes. They also did that one like borderline porn short series with the girls with the huge boobs.
You're gonna
I
have to
probably
be a
need
bit
more-
more specific than that.
Okay.
I don't remember the actual name of it, but the TV animes they're most famous for were Just Because and Gamers, but which seem very distant from this particular production. So I thought that was kind of weird. Also, I just assumed Pine Jam was not going to survive given their issues, but I guess they're still here.
Standing
And
backstage.
when they are actually animating things, they're actually pretty decent. But yeah, not giving high hopes for this one. Let's move on.
What's
All right.
next? Arte.
Aqua, you added this one,
Yes.
right? So what are we talking about here with?
Well, Arte is a show I'm pretty interested in. I don't think there are any like manga scans available. Like if someone has them, I wouldn't know because I couldn't
Yeah, I've heard
find
this was a
them.
manga, but I couldn't find anything when I looked it up online.
Yeah, because this is, but it is a very interesting. Like this just screams pretty, you know. Like
Yeah,
it's a manga
it's-
with a premise that can only be pretty, and otherwise it has no reason to exist. So what is Arte? It's basically it's set in the Italian Renaissance, Florence, in the I think 15th century.
Okay.
And it is about Arte, quote unquote Arte, who is trying as a girl, a spunky girl who's trying to be a painter, you know, and she is taught by quote unquote Leo, a famous painter. So, like, it's clear that that Leo is a stand-in for Da Vinci, obviously, but Arte is probably based on Artemisia Gentileschi, who was an actual female Renaissance painter.
Okay.
So, this might be, like, slightly biographical in nature, which makes it kind of interesting, because that's not something we very often see in anime.
Yeah, I think for me, honestly, the thing that kind of interests me about this is like, I'm not sure this could be biographical or whatever, but I think we don't get a lot of historical drama, like a lot of period dramas in anime.
Yeah.
Right.
As far as I can tell, Arte is like purely just historical, like Renaissance era Italy, like no
Right. This
no
is
fantastical
not
elements,
like
no.
necessarily like Vinland Saga where it's heavily
It's
action of,
anime Dark Ages,
Right, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
this seems more like just straight up like, I mean, you know, look, everybody's prettier and it's anime, but like it is,
Yeah, and
meant
also
to
like
be
women
Renaissance.
are independent and not like don't get
Well, I
stoned
mean,
to
this-
death for trying to make a career
this
for themselves.
Arte girl
but, like,
is supposed to be the daughter of a noble, right? So I mean, she's
Right,
still landed
yeah.
gentry, and let's be
Yeah.
real, like. The rich have always had privileges that
well,
that the working
let's not
class
get
don't have
into
access
that.
to. So
But yeah,
Alright.
this looks interesting. Like I actually thought, just because it is like a straight up historical manga, I actually thought that this was based on a work by Kaoru Mori, who wrote
right, you
Emma
too, right?
and
I
A
was
Bride's
like-
Tale.
yeah,
Or what's it called?
yeah.
A Bride's Tale? Yeah, but it's not her. This is Kei Okubo or something, and this is their first manga, so this is not an
that's
established
cool.
mangaka
Okay.
at all.
Right, because Bride Story / Emma, that author is like the only other person I can think of who does like
who do something
Yeah.
like along these lines.
yeah of like female protagonist period drama, like mostly grounded take on a time period, but her stuff is all like way too like complex and like beautifully drawn to be adequately adapted to an anime, so you know.
Like the only proper method of adapting this is through like prestige BBC period drama.
Right. But yeah, curious about Arte, you know, I mean, it's
Who knows? And this might be Aizoken, except set in the past instead of the future. we need like Yale the Kanamori, who is like,
Yeah, it's like, who
how
of the
long
old
have you
masters-
been? How long have you been drawing this one like nude male? posing dramatically.
I mean, because of the way like the patronage system worked back in the day, wouldn't Kanamori during Renaissance times be the Pope?
Yeah, Kanamori works for the church.
Oh, the first church of Kanamoni.
Fucking what does that make like Asakusa like Michelangelo? Like just just like, are you done with that fresco yet? It's like, well, hear me out, all right? Like, I had this vision of hell where I was being, like, flayed alive by a demon, and I wanted to... And, the Pope just exasperated is like...
Keep your hands off the Vatican.
That's an actual Monty Python sketch, by the way. About the Pope arguing with Michelangelo about the Sistine Chapel.
For real? Oh,
yes.
That is some good shit. I guess Leo would be Mizuzaki, a lot more like, more idealistic, more dreamy, more like head in the clouds.
I don't care about the church. I just want to draw like pretty men naked.
Actually, no. I think this metaphor doesn't work anymore because actually Asakusa would be Leonardo because Leonardo loved doing mechanical design.
Yeah.
He did the tank and the helicopter. Like that's some Asakusa ass shit right there. So
right. All right. So yeah, I mean, I'm all for something different at the very least. So hopefully that'll pan out. All right. Now, for this next show, normally I would raise an eyebrow, but I'm watching Bofuri this season, so I can't do freedom of speech. But Aqua, you added My Next Life as a Villainess, All Routes Lead to Doom.
Yes, you see, because every time I'm on the season preview podcast, I always have to pick out something that I think Chell will like.
Calling him out here.
The reason why I picked this is because it represents a very interesting trend. That is the Villainous Isekai novel. And what is it about? There are like a gazillion of these. They're very popular at the moment, but this is like the big one in that specific subgenre. So what's the idea is you have your average, otaku high school girl who gets in an accident and dies and reincarnates in the world of her favorite otomege, favorite dating sim. But instead of the main character who is trying to woo all the hot boys, she is the rival character. So she's like the bad guy, the bitch,
the shitty one who's always trying to cock block.
Gets between the main character and the hot guys, But of course, knowing that game, she knows that in every single route, the girl, like the bad girl, gets her comeuppance and gets like exiled or murdered or something like that. Jeez. So she does everything in her power to prevent those endings, and it's like I'm going to be nice from now on, and I'm going to make sure everyone gets along. But the problem is that she's also incredibly stupid. So that leads to hilarious hijinks. But I think,
I do love comedies with dumb, terrible people.
Yes, which is why I think Jill might like this. But the thing why I find this interesting is that, this is the modern isekai for women,
Huh.
And if you compare that to the isekai for men, you get a very different idea. Whereas the isekai aimed at men are power fantasies. I was treated badly in my real life, and now I'm going to do everything. No, I'm just not going to listen to anyone. Do what I want and live my best life. And this is just this is almost the opposite thing. It's not. It's just another world, and I'm all powerful, and I have a cheat skill, so I can be a jerk to everyone. And they will still love me because this is my power fantasy. This is the exact opposite. This is wow, I'm a complete bitch in this world, and I need to be nice to people, and I want people to get along, and I want to be liked by these people. So it is almost the complete inverse of the
right.
incel
instead
loser narrative.
Instead of everyone loves me automatically, it's everyone fucking hates me.
I think this is
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that, I think this is something we're seeing with shows like Bofuri, which is another completely different mood than usual isekai. I was going to mention, and I cut it, Ascendance of Bookworm.
Yeah, which
another
is
one.
another prominent female-oriented isekai.
Right. So, like, I think we're definitely seeing a trend with, obviously, isekai with female-led characters in the broadest sense have always existed, but, like, specifically this type of, like flipping the fantasy isekai thing that's popular right now.
Yeah, and, like,
with a female
explicitly,
lead.
because, of course, like, female-led isekai, like, is the original isekai, but
right.
I'm talking
Right,
specifically about, like,
but this
modern
brand of, like,
video
fantasy
game mechanics
Right.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Right. Because like Bofuri is, like, it's just, like, friends being nice to each other and having fun playing video games, which is, like, again, the opposite of what isekai usually is when it's the male-led ones, right?
Yeah.
And this, I think, like you're saying, from what you're saying, Aqua, is, like, going even a step further with that, right? Where she's literally, like, reversing the game mechanics or whatever, right? Or the premise.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, and this is also Silverlink who are doing Bofuri, which normally is not not something I would be getting excited about at this stage, but they're doing a good job with that. So this is different staff, of course, I think, but
it's still not Shin Onuma doing it, but I just thought this was interesting because, like, this, I think the premise, despite being like the premise of 50 other light novels and manga, apparently, I do like it. Like, oh no, I'm destined to be this jerk, and being a jerk, I will get my just desserts, so I have to stop being a jerk and, like, save everyone. That seems like a very, I mean, it's almost like the like, dark visual novel thing, like the Ushikashi visual novel, where, like, I know the alternative endings, I know the bad shit that will happen if we do this, so we do that.
Say, like,
but except it's like completely played as comedy.
Yeah, 'cause I was saying, is the premise like a Groundhog Day thing where, like, she repeats the scenarios but, like, remembers what happens?
I don't know about that. I just know she has to, like, try to avoid the quote-unquote flags.
Well, it was a game that she played, right? So she probably knows what's coming up.
Yeah,
I guess what I mean,
right.
like,
I don't think it's looping though, right? I think it's
okay. I was trying to figure out, like, how much of this was. I was trying to figure out how much of the game framework was in here, but.
Well, I guess it's like she's replaying it, but she's only replaying it once.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
Also,
I'll check it out.
Another interesting idea about this is that it doesn't start with, like, I'm the main character, now I'm dead, and I'm reincarnated. It's like, if I'm to be believed, it starts with, like, the in-game character being a child, and then as she gets in an accident, and that's when she realizes, like, oh my god, I'm actually a reincarnated person from the 21st century. So they could do interesting things with that. Like, instead of it's like in Tanya the Evil, the little girl Nazi show.
Yeah,
that's not, like, a good reference.
No, but, like, the thing is, like, the point of comparison is, like, there is no real world aspect to it.
Right. It's just,
like, they just allude to the fact that the main character remembers a previous life.
Right.
Yeah, I think a lot of shows do that at this point.
Yeah.
But
I mean.
Yeah.
Oh well, it's because the real life bit is so, like, troporific that it doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
We'll keep an eye on that, and we'll close things out here with
A showstopper.
It has to be noted
Hell
that Ryu Soldier has ended. The full name of Ryu Soldier that I can't even remember off the top of my head.
Dino something.
Right.
Dino Knight Sentai?
Sure, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, something.
The previous year's Super Sentai is over. This year's Super Sentai has begun. Machine Sentai Kiramager. I guess the theme for this one is gems and magic or something.
And machines. It's 3 things in one.
That seems
it's like,
a little.
What if fruits and dancing and samurai?
They have as time has passed, they've been cramming more and more themes into each one to sell more toys.
I was gonna
What if
say, I feel
animals
like-
and
You started
Minecraft?
running out of. You eventually start running out of cool things that little boys.
I mean,
like to
that's
play
why
with,
there's
like
been
dinosaurs and-
five dinosaur Sentais.
Right.
Which is why we recycle cars, dinosaurs, and ninjas every 3 years.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, for a genre ostensibly for, like, young boys, I feel like Gems is not exactly, like, you know...
Well, that's why you gotta
Well, what if
add
they
a bunch
turn
of
into
other.
cool vehicles, like cars and
Yeah.
construction bots,
All right, yeah,
and
yeah.
and
yeah,
helicopters,
fire trucks.
and fire trucks.
yeah, all right, fine,
Anyway,
fine.
Rio
Sure.
Soldier was bad, but I will say, like, I mentioned earlier, we talked about, like, how a writer, how it still takes skill to write good, like, dumb schlock,
Yeah.
episodic stuff. The thing about Rio Soldier is the directing was all, like, really good, and it had a writer who had no idea how to write for tokusatsu,
Whoops.
who had never written tokusatsu before, etc. Kiramager's staff is all, like, toku vets, and so...
Yep.
I'm kind of hoping that it will be a totally, like, fine one of those, basically.
This will also feature a main cast appearance by Pico Taro, the guy from Pineapple Pen or whatever it's called.
I don't know what that is.
Like
That
the
guy?
dumb internet meme for a couple of years ago. He is playing the mentor of the team, and the
okay.
team also includes a professional gamer.
That's right.
And a professional stuntman and a super doctor and all the kinds of like stupid bullshit that you would
What?
expect from Super Sentai.
I was gonna say, like, one of those three, I'm like, alright, that makes sense. All three of them, it seems...
It's a lot.
That's a lot. This show is juggling a lot of concepts.
That's
All right.
that's tokusatsu for you.
Did they air any
Yeah, I
episodes yet?
believe there's, like,
Is that-
2 or 3 episodes out now.
Well, we look forward to your segment on the podcast next time.
All right. When we have 5 minutes to kill at the end of next
I mean,
episode.
as we've always
we'll-
said, like, every Super Sentai is the same, and so it comes down to, like, the fine details, whether
Sure.
one is good or not, basically.
Right.
Well, how's Kamen Rider right now? Will this be good or bad based on your rule about...
I mean, they're not allowed to be good at the same time, and
Right,
Kamen
so...
1 is still pretty good, so...
But
So-
technically, this one should be. This one can be good, but then the next Kamen Rider will be
That's
bad.
true, yeah.
All right, as long as the rule holds.
All right.
But yes.
So, real quick to wrap up all of our discussion here. What do you guys think is going to be the worst show? I've already said mine.
Yeah.
Based on like the stuff we have right here, like on this list,
Or any of the other shows, because there's a lot we didn't cover. right
I have
now.
not been paying too close attention to anything else. but,
Kakushigoto or Gleipnir sound like the trash.
yeah, I mean, if we talk about the show that like makes me feel the worst watching it every week, it'll probably continue to be Gundam Build Divers. Like, because that show will probably continue to do things like introduce cool robots and like the glimmers of cool concepts that could be done really well in the right hands, and then it won't do them.
The most disappointing award, which is different than the worst show.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't have time in my life for the worst shit anymore.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like
Right.
these days, the thing that bothers me more are things that are disappointing.
Yeah.
Aqua, do you have any?
There
Anyone
is
you
some
wanna add?
like no, the actual worst show of the season will probably be like either this like all these cute hot girls play baseball and they're all in love with each other, or like this
Oh, I don't know if that's going to be the worst
this
show.
dumbass isekai show, or like the second season of Tsukumomo, which is basically just child pornography,
Oh, that might be. that might
or
actually
the
be
second
it.
season of
I
Dropkick on
forgot
My
about
Devil, which is the least funny show ever.
Right, but,
I
like,
did that
I
for
guess
Inner
that's my
Manga
things
Theater
that, like,
years ago, and it sucked
It's like
ass.
you're just
That-
listing
there
things
are-
that are so bad I would never pay attention to them in the first place.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, wait,
there
no,
are some
I got
shows
it,
here
guys.
we haven't even talked about, like the Fugo Keiji one, which is like the
What?
millionaire detective
Oh boy.
one.
Yeah, I did.
And
Care
what
about
else?
a lot of
And
those.
the one about the stupid ass looking dinosaur, directed by the guy from Pop Team Epic.
What?
What?
I got the answer though, guys. Kingdom season 3.
Oh, don't let the Kingdom fans hear that.
Christ.
Okay, so then what
Will it be all
what shows
CG
you guys?
again, or is it 2D this time? I don't even know.
I haven't checked. What's the one?
I know
you're
what
most
the
looking
worst.
forward
No,
to?
no, no. I know what is going to be the worst anime of next season. Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0.
Okay,
Don't you mean
yep,
4?
you win, Aqua.
Or fuck, right, 3 plus. God,
All right,
those
so
fucking titles.
what show were you most looking forward to then?
It's a for me, it's a toss-up between Sing Yesterday for me and Arte. These are like the two I would list on top. Then again, Listeners and APPARE-RANMAN also, and BNA and.
I'm glad you could pick one.
I
Aqua.
kind of want APPARE-RANMAN to be the kind of show we talk about a year from now. In the same way we talk about like Blood Blockade Battlefront or Rage of Bahamut.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, like no, I totally get you. Hero. Like you're
but
talking
the
about like
thing is,
we
like I don't talk about Blood Blockade Battlefront, so like
Fair.
fine, but
I mean
That's why I'm giving you all an opportunity to give your
yeah.
personal choice.
I mean,
totally
I get
you're
what you
saying,
know.
though,
I get what you mean. I'm also
yeah.
looking forward to it, but also like it's
Yes.
that just seems like the kind of show that is like you watch it and it's like, haha, wow, yeah, this is fun, and then it's over and you're like, forget it until next time.
No, Euro. I totally understand what you're saying. You're talking about like the kind of shows where we're just like, fucking, yo, remember when Sword punched that bullet? like
Remember when they were racing when they were doing a horseback chase on rooftop?
Yeah, like the
trumpet
kind of show that's like,
strings
look,
and-
we're not, look, we're being a little bit ironic, but like, look, we get that these shows are not like,
High art.
top of the top, but like the shows that are like so damn fun to watch in the moment that
Yeah, sure.
you just got a smile on
Yeah.
your face, even if like, whatever, like quote unquote objectively they're not like, the best shows, but they're fun shows.
Is that your pick as well, G?
I mean, for me, I'm kind of with Eero where, like, I would love the world in which APPARE-RANMAN is one of those shows, right? Where we're talking about it in the same breath as, like, your Rage of Bahamuts and your, like, your Garos and such.
GLORIO cult favorites.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, in a perfect world, I want BNA to be really good. But I want BNA to be really good. It's a thing of, like, I don't have the burning fire in me that I did back when like something like Kill la Kill was on the way, but
Which is odd
Right.
because like Trigger have shown their mettle time after time again.
yeah.
But I
yeah,
mean, on
think
the other hand, I can kind of understand why you're like, it is not an event anymore.
right. I guess it's more like
Or this particular subject matter is
Yeah,
like not
yeah.
as.
Yeah, I think like for better or
Interesting.
worse, it's like Kill la Kill was like the big debut work, so like that's when
Yeah.
they really blew the doors out. Little Witch Academia OVA is like them really flexing their like technical metal. Promare is just Amaishi and Nakashima going to the ropes for 90 minutes straight.
It's like the obvious magnum opus,
Yeah,
like-
yeah, and like Gridman is like this kind of representation of like what could be the future of like Trigger as a studio. And so
What if
BNA
New
is-
Trigger was old Gynax?
just come full circle? Yeah, just fucking Trigger makes Gunbuster 3.
Don't know, because Gynax is actually doing that.
I don't. I know. I try to. Forget.
I don't think.
we don't speak. Of
I
Gynax
don't know if
in
it's
this
ever
house
actually going to
anymore.
happen now, given the present state of Gynax.
But so the thing with BNA,
yeah, but yeah, I think G. I don't know if this is what you're getting at, but BNA doesn't really feel like any of those.
right?
If that makes
like
sense.
it doesn't like. I want to be surprised. I really do. I want BNA to come out and for all of us to be like, holy shit! Like, did you see that episode? But for now, it seems like it's going to be something very enjoyable but very comfortable, and I certainly don't mind that in the least. I think that this year has already been like a weirdly very good year for anime originals, and I hope things like BNA and APPARE-RANMAN continue that. I guess I think it would be really cool if at the end of this year like more than half of our top 10 list are like originals. I think that would be really neat. So
yeah.
for that sake, I hope BNA is a real standout, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you guys on APPARE-RANMAN. I'd love for that to be great. I think Kaguya is my safest pick, but that's also kind of the boring one. Probably has the lowest upside. but I feel like that's the one that's least likely to disappoint me.
I guess that's the thing. Like the way we are hedging our bets here is it is a push and pull between what we hope
what we hope and what we expect.
Yeah,
I mean,
are
first
not
of all, these
necessarily
anime
the same
are actually
thing.
going to have to come out. Like, let's not disregard
Yeah.
that little caveat.
That is
Oh,
true.
right,
Like
yes.
that is true.
Well,
Like
they-
they've made no announcements yet, but for all we know,
Yeah.
like a lot of these anime could be getting delayed because so much of anime is outsourced to China or Korea now. So
I think I'm also looking forward to the yesterday one, because that looks, and Aqua, if you're saying that's a good writer that has good pedigree, then that makes me more excited for it. So that would probably be my other thing. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of potential here.
right. I mean, I think
more,
this is
more
one of
than
those.
probably your average anime season for our
Yeah.
particular tastes. And we're coming off. I mean, this current season has been pretty good.
I found this to be a really strong season
Yeah.
so far. I mean, I think.
So, 2020 looking good for anime so far.
Maybe not the rest of the world, but anime.
Maybe not the rest of maybe not the rest of 2020.
Equivalent exchange.
The monkey's paw curls.
Wow,
right?
does it takes a fucking global pandemic to make anime good? That's a hell of a fucking cost.
Christ.
All right. Well, I think that'll do it for this episode. Then let's do our housekeeping. Check us out at theglorioblog.com. We will, in the not too distant future, be actually back to, I think we're going to get back to normal first looks this season. So
Check out our
Keep
new
an eye out for
feature,
that.
Glorio Goes Ghibli, in which I watch and try to talk about all the Ghibli movies.
yes. So we've got that going on. Actual content on the blog.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I am making videos about Grand Blue Fantasy versus Grand Blue Fantasy versus.
Which is
check
incredibly
that
fun
out.
to say.
And
Yes.
I'd like to let all the faithful know that a podcast about a certain legendary 1988 science fiction OVA. We got one more episode in the can, folks. We recorded one last episode
Oh, yeah.
of Legend of the Glory Heroes for all you lovely listeners, and working on getting that edited. I'm very busy right now, but I promise.
Hey man,
That
you
will
don't
be
just
coming
edit
soon.
6 hours and like.
This one's gonna be what, 2.5 or something? I
Something
forget.
like that. I think it was just 2.5
that's
straight.
reasonable.
Yeah. Yep. So keep an eye on theglorioblog.com for that. Also on Twitter at theglorioblog. You can follow the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Podbean, and YouTube. Please subscribe, and tell your friends, tell your enemies. Everybody, please stay safe out there.
Or
Wash your
tell no
hands.
one and stay inside.
Yes. And
Practice
wash your
social
hands. I'll say it
distancing.
again.
Do not recommend the Glorio blog to your friends.
No,
they should.
Tell them.
They should-
Tell them to read the Glorio blog while they have
Everybody
nothing else to
should,
do.
should
Over
sit
the
alone in
phone.
their rooms and listen to the Glorio chat.
Yeah, we've got 100 episodes on the feed. Just start now. Work your way down.
Yeah, who wants to hear our thoughts about anime from 2 years ago?
Hey man, I'm already going crazy 3 days into being stuck into the house. So
Yeah.
Welcome
desperate
to
times.
my regular life.
yeah. All right, so that's gonna do it. Thank you guys for being on. Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
"またない彼氏ってられない街に繰り